Nobody will know. Nobody would know.
No one would know. You could just leave him here and the cleaners would find him and they wouldn't have any idea.
Hi, I'm Alan, and this is Popculture Pontification, the show in which Russell is not here because he decided to go on a holiday, and so we have a guest instead, and that guest is Tim. Hello, Tim.
I'm back. Again.
You are back.
I'm back. I'm so excited to be back yet again.
You're just pulling off so many firsts, because you are our very first guest.
Yep.
And then you're our very first returning guest.
Yep.
And now you're our very first sequential guest.
And very first recurring guest. Unless you already said that.
I just said that.
Okay, well, damn it.
Oh, I said returning.
Returning, yeah. So now I'm a recurring character.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are a bit of a character.
Oh, I like to think so. Yeah, I've killed and consumed Russell's flesh, and now I am one with him.
Yes, and he is here in spirit, but
Yeah.
not in flesh because you've already digested it. And
Yeah,
now
yeah,
it's
yeah.
inside of you.
Yeah, his spirit is inside me. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's just go from that.
I think that covers the basis of what's happened.
So the fans that are out there, like, where's Russell? Number one fan Russell. He's gone.
He's gone.
He's gone.
He's not
but his
coming
spirit will eventually touch you as well,
Yes.
as it has touched me. Anyway.
Well, you got some big boots to fill because you're sitting where Russell usually sits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can only do so much.
can you just have enormous gaps in the conversation that I have to edit out later on?
Yeah, and I can also start.
Okay, you're already as good as Russell.
Oh, okay, good, wonderful, wonderful. I was also going to start my sentence with a, but I decided not to.
All right. Well, why don't we jump straight into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Why don't you tell me about what you've been up to this week?
All right, so I've been a very bad pop culture fan, and I have done very little pop culture watching or playing or viewing or listening, except for obviously the podcast, which I listen to on a regular basis. But no, the one thing I've had time for this week is Ruby, because it's only a 12-minute show.
That's it.
So,
yeah, each episode is 12 minutes.
Yeah, about that. So yeah, I'm all caught up on Ruby, and holy shit, what a fucking show that turned out to be.
I think the finale happened a couple of months, like a month ago.
I feel like about a month ago, but I've been doing stuff, so I haven't had a chance to watch. But I've watched it, and my god, it went from being like a rip-off of Naruto and Soul Eater to its own little freestanding show with plot and characters getting their arms cut off. And
I feel like it started out in like the first season. For those who aren't aware, Ruby is the animated sort of anime series made by Rooster Teeth.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which is a machinima sort of internet video corporation that exists in Austin, Texas.
Yes. In America,
yes. And it started out very lighthearted.
Yes, very much so.
It was just a bunch of girls based on fairy tales, just having some fun.
Having some fun with their weapons that are also guns, because once again, America. And just going to school, learning how to fight big scary monsters, and then the first 2 seasons were basically that. It was just girls fighting scary monsters.
Schools, and we're in school, and something's happened near the school or away from the school. Let's go punch stuff. Yep,
exactly right. And that was their formula that they went with for 2 seasons. And then the 3rd season, they put up a disclaimer that was like, the show's not for kids, and it's about to get dark.
That was in like the last episode or 2, was it?
It was about halfway through the season, when they were leading up to. Is spoilers okay?
Light spoilers is fine. Don't give anything.
Someone dies. One of the cast dies, and
it just takes a real hard left.
Yeah, it's just like we're in a tournament, because that's the whole arc of season 3 is a tournament, and then they're just like in a match, and all of a sudden they're two main characters that are both non-villains are fighting each other, and one of them gets killed. And it's horrible, and they put up this big disclaimer saying, it's about to get dark, if anyone, trigger warnings and all that other stuff, which is great of Rooster Teeth to do.
I feel like trigger warnings are really just to like stop lawsuits at this point.
Yeah,
it's not for people who have actually had horrible trauma and all that sort of stuff.
Not really. It's like a 1% thing. But I feel like trigger warning is the trigger at this point. Like someone reads trigger warning, like, they got me. I've been triggered.
I read something online a while back about this poor woman whose husband at the time had like a psychotic episode and had like committed murder-suicide with their infant child.
Jesus.
Which is horrible. Poor woman.
Oh.
And she obviously is horribly traumatized by all this.
Yeah.
And she like can't see a child without like going off the deep end and having like horror, because she found them after the fact.
Oh god.
Having like horrible flashbacks and all this trauma, and she can't trust men.
PTSD and stuff.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, yes. And there was this thread on Reddit of like people going like, oh, all the stuff in the media these days, trigger warning, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And this woman was just like, just fuck off.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Like, if I have to walk down the street and see children, which causes me to have flashbacks to my dead child,
yeah,
you can deal with an animated character getting shot in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Oh dear. But to pull out of that tangent, Ruby was just unbelievable, and the character development that they had in that last couple episodes with everything that's going to happen, I'm really keen for the next season, even if it's a couple months away.
Yeah, I actually don't know when the next season is going to come out.
I've got no idea. And that's, obviously they had that incident with Monty, who was the director or creator?
He created,
and he passed away.
I think he was also the director. Yeah, and he passed away like 2 years ago.
Yeah, very tragically as well. He had an allergic reaction and then just didn't wake up.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was done, which was just heartbreaking news for the fans as well. So it's really nice to see that they're still going on with this legacy and this show's still going strong.
I think after it got popular, which was almost immediately after it was released, I think he laid down pretty much everything that was going to happen in the series. So I don't think they're just sort of making it up as they go along.
No, but they're doing it justice.
Yes.
Which is good. They're not changing the plan, which I appreciate. At least I don't think so. I have no evidence.
We would have no way of knowing.
No. So good job, Monty, wherever you are. But yeah, no, that's all I've had time for, unfortunately. With me,
well, I gave you homework, so that took up a fair chunk of your time, and you just started a new job.
I just started a new job as well. Yeah, I moved again to another job.
Yes,
I was working at Woolworths.
That's true. Yes,
I was a night fill at Woolworths, and then I wanted to kill myself. So then I went to Web Arena, where we worked together. Then we bankrupted that very quickly.
I feel like we should put a disclaimer that we didn't do anything.
Oh no, we didn't. It bankrupted around us. We were just there.
We were present.
Just there. Yeah. And then I went to Toys R Us, and I was a manager there. And then I went to Sydney, and I was a store designer, assistant store designer.
It was still for Toys R Us.
But it was still for Toys R Us. And then I worked at Peter Alexander.
That's right, yeah, which is like a lady clothing company.
It's a pajama store that specializes in ladies' pajamas. There was a men's section.
You were there for about a fortnight.
I was there for about a fortnight. Bad time. We won't go into that. And then I went to Kmart. And now I'm at EB Games.
Yes. So why don't you tell us about EB Games?
So EB
What's
Games.
It like working for EB?
Well, see, I always felt like working at EB Games would be the dream job because, like, you're working with games and being a cool dude. And as it turns out, no, it's actually true. It's a really fun place to work.
Now, EB stands for Electronics Boutique.
Correct.
Which is always EB Games is always sounded weird to me because that's Electronic Boutique Games.
Yeah. Yeah. I never got that either. I think they just used to call it Electronics Boutique, and then the games part came afterwards, yeah.
And then they shortened Electronics Boutique to EB. And then everybody's like, what the fuck is EB? So they're like, oh, it's EB Games.
Yeah.
And every now
I feel like a lot of people still call it EB Games.
I've never heard anybody call it EB Games, yeah.
It sounds like a Russell thing.
Yeah.
Russell
quality content right here.
Yeah,
Discussing the name of the company
exactly.
that you work with.
Anyway, so starting off there, assistant store manager. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
You jumped straight to assistant store manager.
Yeah, I got
straight. Start out like fucking grunt level.
No, God no. I know my worth. But anyway, so yeah, assistant store manager there. We've had The Division got launched this week, so we've had a lot of people come in for that, which is a Tom Clancy game. Tom Clancy. He always has to put his name at the beginning of every video game.
Is he even alive still?
Who the hell is he?
He's an author.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! He got so many games that his name is.
Well, he basically wrote books about special ops teams, like fucking shit up and all that sort of stuff.
That makes so much more sense. I thought he was just a guy, and they were just like, it's Tom Clancy's game.
Like John Romero's games and all that stuff.
Yeah,
no idea who John Romero
I've got no idea.
John Romero is an old video game designer who used to put his name at the beginning of every game. Like John Romero's Doom or John Romero's Quake or whatever.
Jesus. Well, I was thinking more he was more like Reggie from Nintendo. It's just like Reggie's Nintendo. Everyone knows who Reggie is.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so it's a lot of really cool people that actually shop at EB Games. Like our store's in the center, so there's a lot of mums and stuff that come in. So I had to talk to mums and their kids.
They're like, I want to buy a game for my son, but I don't want it to be too violent.
Yeah, well, no, I had a guy come in today, and he had his 11-year-old and his 8-year-old, and he was Indian, much like myself, so he naturally came straight to me. Because that's what...
Good deal.
And oh man, this is where the story's going. So he wanted to... He has an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, and he wanted to buy his kids a zombie game. And I was like...
Is it like Plants vs. Zombies?
That's exactly what I went to. I was like, oh, we've got Plants vs. Zombies. Like, oh, we only have a PS3. And I was like, well, we don't have it on PS3. And he's like, well, we definitely want a zombie game. And I was like, well, your kids are a little bit young for, like... anything
like
that
Dead
you're
Rising
after.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, what about this? He pulls Dead Island off the shelf. And I was like, this is an 18 plus game. This is R18
Also, that's like
plus.
7 years old.
Riptide. So the
okay.
second game.
So like 5 years old.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's in the pre-owned section because that's what he wanted. So anyway, I show him. I tried to explain to him how the rating system works, and I was like, your kids are 11 and 8 years old.
Like PG.
Yeah, like PG or M if you really want to. And he was like, absolutely not. I want them to have a zombie game where they can shoot and kill zombies. And I was like...
Maybe he's just preparing them for the eventual apocalypse.
Possibly. Maybe he knows something.
Maybe he knows something we don't, yeah.
Maybe. But anyway, so went around. He wasn't happy with anything that I showed him of the ratings that were appropriate for his children. He picks out Resident Evil 6.
Come on.
Resident Evil 5. And Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which has the zombie mode.
Which has the zombie mode in it, yes.
And at the moment at EB Games, we have a promotion where you buy, shameless plug, you buy 2 pre-owned games, you get the third one for free. So we had a game that's $22. It's a great deal. Game that was $22, a game that's $28, and a game that's $25. So he's like, I get the $28 game for free. And I was like, that's not how that works. It's the cheapest game you get for free in the promotion. So you get 28, 25, 22.
So good deal, but you're still milking a couple of bucks out of people.
Well, exactly. It's like it's just common sense. Like it's like you get one free off the cheapest game. And he's like, but I want the $28 one. That's the one I want for free. And I was like, that's not how it works. And I had a very long argument with him, trying to explain the concept, which he eventually didn't agree with, but got and bought the games anyway. But it was like pulling teeth. He just wouldn't have a bar of it.
At any point, were you just like, I can't sell you these games if you're going to let an 8-year-old play these?
Well, he would have made me... I wanted the sale.
I wanted that.
I wanted that money because we make so much money off pre-order or pre-owned. Sorry. I just like I have to sell it to him, and I'm a bad person for doing it. And I know those kids are gonna like Resident Evil. That's not a fun game.
That's not a fun game
for an 8-year-old to play.
Like an 8-year-old's not even going to be able to get past the first level. They're just going to be perpetually killed by the first zombie they come across.
Exactly. He's not going to have the reflexes to be like, oh my god, a zombie, Resident Evil, boop, and kill him. Like, and the worst part is, the 8-year-old wanted the Minecraft story mode. That's what the game that he came in there to buy, and the dad said
it's got zombies in it?
Yeah, but
No,
zombies.
I'm saying that's got zombies
it's absolutely got zombies in it, but the dad didn't want to pay $70 for it. So he spent $72 getting 3 games rather than $70 getting the game that his kid actually wanted. So I don't know how that happened. But anyway, working EB Games is actually pretty good.
I never want to get to the point in my life where I don't understand what's happening in regards to games and technology.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty close.
That terrifies me.
Yeah.
Like, I eventually walk into a store with a kid. I'd like your latest brain plug. Because I assume that everything's going to be jacked into brains by the time I'm old.
Okay, yeah. One would hope.
And they're like, oh, we got this one over here. I was like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting that now because the hardcore gamers come in. They're like, I need a wireless Xbox headset that's this brand, that's this price, and they give me all these specs. I'm just like, well, these are our headphones.
Headphones are to your left.
Yeah. Just give me a shout if you need a hand. And they angrily walk away from me. Like, I just don't... I'm at that stage.
You've only been there for like a week or so.
Yeah, I know.
So surely
it's
you'll
a
pick
product
up the lingo as time goes on.
I hope so. But, man, I can sell a breast pump. Toys R Us has taught me well. So, I guess if I can sell a breast pump, I can sell anything.
You can sell horrible zombie games to a
minors.
poor Indian man's children.
Yeah. God, I hope he doesn't bring them back.
And gets really angry. These are too violent for my children.
Yeah. What are you thinking selling me these games?
I said I wanted something appropriate.
Yeah. Dear. Well, we've got Plants vs. Zombies.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, so what have you been up to?
When he comes back, I refuse. I'd trade these back in. That'll be $5.
Yeah, exactly. We'll give you 60 cents for them. So anyway, what have you been up to, Alan? Because I know that you've been up to quite the adventure this week.
I did have quite the adventure this week. It started out on Friday, which was the day after we recorded the podcast, I believe.
Yep.
And where myself and my lovely girlfriend, Layla, who doesn't listen to these, but I still have to say nice things about it.
Because she is lovely.
We went and saw the new movie, a new animated movie called The Boy and the Beast.
I've heard about this.
You have, I don't know who directs it or made it or whatever, but it's very Studio Ghibli-ish.
Yeah.
So, but it's not Studio Ghibli.
No.
And we went and watched that in like an outdoor cinema.
Yep.
Which was very cold.
Yeah.
And I decided to wear shorts and a t-shirt.
Oh, you fool.
I was a fool.
You foolish man.
It was a big mistake.
You foolish man.
And so there we are. We're like sitting down on these little bean bags watching this movie. And like I'm wearing shorts. And I'm just my girlfriend there, and she's got a jumper on, so I'm just like clambering onto her as much as possible. But my knees are free to the wind.
Yeah.
And you can't stretch out. And my knees got freezing. Yeah. And then I couldn't stand up at the end because my knees got too
You
cold.
are getting old.
And as I was standing up, I was like, Hurr!
The arthritis in your knees kicked in.
Like hobbling out of the place. I'm like, oh, I'm too old for this shit. But the movie, on the other hand, is very good.
Oh, that's good to hear. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I saw the trailer for it, and it looks sensational.
It ends in a way I felt like I was a little bit let down by the ending. It wasn't what I expected to happen. Because the entire movie is, well, I suppose the premise is in the trailer.
Yeah.
This boy runs away from home, and he ends up in this fantastical world full of animal people.
Yeah.
You know? And he gets adopted by this sort of big bear guy who's got a sword and all this sort of stuff, and it's all about that.
Yeah.
Being raised in this world while he ran away from home and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's animated is beautifully animated.
Beautifully animated.
Animated is beautifully, which is what I said.
Is what you initially said. But I wanted to see you correct yourself, because I know you can cut that out.
It's animated quite beautifully.
Yeah.
And the story and the voice acting, 100%. I won't give away any spoilers, but I recommend that if you can catch it in a cinema or whatever, go for it. I think it was only here and released for like 2 nights.
Yeah.
And the guy came out and was like, we just sold out so quickly that they could put on more screenings. So that can only say good things about it.
Yeah. I was going to say something. Was it English dub that you watched it?
No. We watched it in Japanese with subtitles. What am I, some sort of fucking pleb over here?
I only watch it in dubs, so like I speak English.
I don't like to read.
Yeah, I don't have time to sit there. I like to do something while I watch things in the background.
Fair enough.
So that's my defense. It never gets me by when people like subs versus dubs, and that's my reason. They're like, "Well, you just trash. Yeah, absolute trash. Learn to read." I'm like, I don't want to. So.
Yes, but that's pretty much the only pop culture thing I got to do this week
because
I had to go to Melbourne.
Ah,
followers of our social media would be aware of this because I had to upload the podcast last week from Melbourne.
That's right.
Yes. That's about the only indication. I didn't post to our fucking Twitter feed or anything because I'm bad at social media.
Well, there you go. It's because you're too old.
Because I'm too old. I don't understand Twitter.
Yeah.
That can be how does one tweet?
That can be the tagline for this episode. Alan is too old.
Alan is too old, yes. But I had to go to Melbourne for a work conference, which was, I work for DHL, for those curious, and we went over there for some sort of training about quality and how to be good and loss prevention and safety in the workplace.
All that HR and OHS and...
Yeah, it was about 8 hours of being bored as fuck, sitting in a room.
Nice. So money well paid by the company.
Oh, I passed fucking with flying colours.
Oh, yeah.
I learnt long ago that when you go to these work conferences, quotation marks, you can just pay the barest amount of attention. And then when the test comes up, it's pretty much just common sense as to what's the correct answer.
Yeah,
well, just pass.
I was gonna say when I went for my first aid certificate, I did the same thing, but that's gonna make me look horrible because I really should have paid attention to my first aid course.
I've got a first aid course for work as well, and I paid attention.
Oh yeah, I did not pay attention, and the worst part is, I'm gonna sound like an idiot for saying this. The worst part is, I went for my first aid certificate, and then the next day at work, a lady tripped and fell in the parking lot. And busted a hand up and busted a knee up, and she someone came in to the store.
Tim.
No, a customer someone outside came in, and they were like, "Oh my god, this lady's hurt herself." And I was the only manager on duty. And it's like, "Does anyone in here know first aid?" And I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Nah, no one in here knows first aid. You're gonna have to go to Dick Smith." The day after, because I just didn't want to deal with it. I was like, I don't want to go outside. I really shouldn't go outside because I'm the only manager on duty. So I just...
It's like hot outside, and I don't want to go out there.
In my defense, I like popped my head out to make sure she wasn't bleeding out, because then I would have felt responsible. But she had like a cut on her finger and a cut on her knee. I was like, oh no, Dick Smith can handle this. So Dick Smith came out and did it.
Was she a client from your store who just left and hurt themselves?
No. But there was a lady, because we have these wheel stops at the front of our store. I'm going to go for a bit of a tangent. We have these wheel stops at the front of the store, and they're incredibly dangerous. They're to stop cars rolling into the shop, if
Correct.
Yeah, which is standard. Except on just past those wheel stops where the car parking spot ends, there's bollards. So even if you drove into the shop, the bollards would stop you anyway. So the wheel stops aren't
unless
really there.
You're really booking it.
Exactly. So anyway, we had an old gentleman that tripped over and fell over these wheel stops, almost died. We had to call him an ambulance. We've had a lady... I love that you laugh. We had a lady...
You said almost died. He's fine.
No, he almost legitimately died. He was very, very seriously injured. Like, he broke both of his legs and stuff. He was like 90 years old. Alan, stop laughing.
Because he's okay. He didn't die.
He didn't die, but man, it was pretty close. Like, Toys R Us was almost on the news. And
it's just the mental image of you being there, and this old man's laying on the ground with broken legs, and you're just like, yeah, what can I do?
I don't know first aid. No, other people dealt with it. I was just there. We had a lady trip over them and sail through the air and headbutt the glass so hard that she cracked the glass.
These people are just stupid.
Yeah. And then
watch where you're walking.
The one that I had to deal with was this very, very religious lady. Like after
Jesus will heal me.
Yeah, that's basically what happened. It's very dramatic and over the top, and it was like something out of a Wile E. cartoon, like Wile E. Coyote cartoon. Mm-hmm. Because she tripped over the wheel stop, but she had a big car seat box in her hand, so she tripped over and then just ate shit into the car seat box onto the.
Was it empty or full?
It was full because she just bought the car seat, obviously.
Okay. Well, then. Would have had some degree.
Oh yeah, but
padding.
she cut her hand. She had to go get stitches, but she wouldn't listen to me when I said that. Because like you could see you could almost see the bone in her hand, because it was quite a deep laceration, because she like scraped it on the bitumen, or asphalt, whatever they call it here, and she was just like, no, I don't need stitches. God will heal me. And I was like, you need to go to the hospital for this. Like, I'm telling you, for us to be legally compliant, so you can't sue us. Not that you could, because it's private property, but.
Well, wouldn't the sidewalk and all that sort of nonsense be public property anyway?
Sorry, yeah, public property, not private property. Yeah, so, like, outside the store isn't Toys R Us, because she tripped in the parking lot, and she's lucky, because our box actually saved probably her face. But it was really, really deep laceration. I was like, you have to go to the hospital. And she's like, no, God will heal me. I was like, well, can God call someone to come pick you up and take you to the hospital, because you need to go to the hospital? And she's like, nah, I'm fine. She's trying to get in the car. I was like, you need to go to the hospital. And she just wouldn't have a bar of it, and she ended up driving off, like pissing blood out of her hand. It was horrible, and I was like, and that's, I think, what had been like, upset. I'm done with first aid. Like, no one's getting my assistance anymore. So, I don't know, but that was my tangent. So keep going on about your work story.
You're horrible.
I know, I'm just a horrible person.
Work safe area.
Well, this is it. Last week.
OHS.
I'm building my character for your fans, you see. So I'm gonna meta this a little bit. Last week you said I was a terrible person for many reasons.
I said for many reasons.
You said for many reasons.
The one I brought up was the fact that you hadn't seen any movies.
And now I'm bringing up another one. So I'm building a profile for myself.
A profile. Yeah. Fair enough.
Hey, keep going.
Usually I'm the bad boy of the podcast.
I know. And Russell's like the good person, so we picked the wrong person to replace
Russell
him.
would be the face, and I would be the heel.
Absolutely. I am like monster heel at this point. Like, just
is that an actual wrestling
term? Yeah,
term?
like monster heel is like Kane and the Undertaker when they're bad guys, because they're like unstoppable. I promised myself I wouldn't bring up wrestling.
Would you count Hulk Hogan when he's hulking out as a monster?
No, because he's babyface. He's Hogan is always babyface, except when he was.
But is there like a monster babyface?
No.
Okay. Because I know that when Hulk Hogan hulks out, he can receive no pain. And
that's his gimmick.
Takes no damage.
Because when Hulk Hogan was popular, he would sit out the back, and Vince would be like, "Oh, you're wrestling." Oh, he wouldn't even say to Vince, Vince wouldn't say to him. He would go to Vince, who's the booker, and owner of the company. He'd be like, "Who do I beat tonight? Who's my opponent? What time am I beating them? How long do you want the match to be?" And that was the conversation he had, because he just never lost. He held the championship for like 6 years.
Has he ever been beaten?
Yeah, but very fair. He's only been tapped out in submission once in like 60 years that he's been wrestling, which is a really big deal.
Hulk Hogan's not a very nice person.
No, he is a very bad person, and like that whole racial thing came out last year. I'm guessing you know about that?
I know a little bit about it.
Yeah, so he said...
He made some nasty comments.
Very nasty comments in the 80s, and it came up. Someone found the transcript, and it got posted online, and then he just like, and WWE dropped him because, like, no racism, WWE, goodbye, I don't care who you are. So they flicked him off their payroll. So he just took to Twitter, is like, everyone please forgive me, I'm not that kind of person. And then it happened again.
Quite recently, yeah.
So, yeah, very recently, the same year that it happened, like, where the information got leaked, there's a recording of the current Hulk Hogan in that year being racist, and it got posted online, and it's like, that never happened, or it was taken out of context.
Somebody just pretending to be me.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, other wrestlers are tweeting back at him being like, just stop, please stop talking.
You're not helping from that.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, he hosted all these campaigns and rallies to try to get people behind him, and no one showed up, and all this other stuff. So it's just
wouldn't that be awful? Just to be like, I'm gonna get the people's support, and then organize their thing, and showing up, and there's like one dude there.
Yeah, and it's like his mum.
Woo, racism.
Yeah. The KKK shows up instead.
Oh yeah, God. Nobody shows up as skinheads and KKK.
Yep, and Donald Trump. Oh, God. So you were at a work event.
I was at a work event.
Yep, we got back. We got back to it.
I'm in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So and I'm there for a day and a half, basically. And so I didn't really have a chance to do anything pop culture-y. I was also sharing a room with one of the guys who came along with us.
Yeah.
His name is Rob. I don't mind naming him. His fucking name's Rob.
Alright. Shout out to Rob.
He's Nepalese, and so that's not his real name.
Okay.
That's just what we call him.
What does Nepalese mean?
He's from Nepal.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that was the plural for people from Nepal.
To my knowledge, that is. I could just be blowing smoke at my ass.
Okay. Well, we'll take your word for it for now.
Wow.
Till I look it up.
Until you look it up. And there's, you're wrong.
Yep. Nepal's where satellites are powered from.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. Got it. Anyway, keep going.
That's a callback.
I'm doing it. I remember the podcast.
Anyway, so I had to share a room with him, and I wasn't a fan of the concept of it because he's a nice guy, but he tends to talk a lot and so annoying. Tends to go on a lot about nonsense. Quite often, a lot of the days, me and my boss, who's the other guy who went with us, going like, "What are you talking about, Rob? What are you on about?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm just saying this," and we're like, "Shut up, dude." Anyway, so we're in this hotel room, and the first night we were there. We arrived on Monday night.
Yeah.
We left, and so we were there, and then we stayed all Tuesday. Came back on Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right. So Monday night, we all go our separate ways to get food and have whatever. I just went for a walk throughout all of Melbourne.
Yeah.
And I came back.
Did you get hit by a tram?
Did not get hit by a tram.
Well, you survived. Good job.
And so I came back and we went to bed. And I was like, all right, fine. I'm not happy about the fact that I have to share a room with a grown man. Fun fact, as soon as I found out I was sharing a room, I immediately went onto the hotel's website to try and book a room for myself, but they're all booked out.
Well, shit. Were you going to pay for it out of your own pocket?
I was absolutely going to pay for it.
Wow, Alan. You're a dick.
I'm an adult. I don't feel like I should share a room.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, so here's the fun thing that happened.
Okay, here we go.
This is where the funny story starts.
This is where all the first aid conversation
I've laid down the groundwork.
The foundation is
the
there.
foundation of the story is there.
Now build me some walls.
We go to sleep.
Yep.
Lights off. Betty bedtime.
Ooh.
Separate beds, obviously. Yep. Wasn't that familiar with him. Within about 5 to 10 minutes, where you start to get that thing where you start to nod off.
Yeah.
Your mind wanders, so on and so forth. All of a sudden, the loudest snoring I've ever heard starts emanating from across the room. And we're going to cut here, because I actually recorded him snoring.
Oh, nice.
He was snoring so deeply and so hard that I had time to get out of bed, look at my phone, find out my phone doesn't have an inbuilt recording device on it.
Nice.
Download an app.
Oh my god.
Install the app. Start recording him from across the room. And this is how that is. So we're just going to cut here and I'm going to play for you.
All right.
The audio.
Holy shit. Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh my god, I'm crying. Because I can imagine your frustration. That's the best part. It's just like having to put up with this shit all day and then turning off the lights and be like, finally, he's not going to make any noise, and then he does that.
And he took me by such surprise.
Because that would just be just like the tip of the iceberg. That would just be like, fuck this.
And here's the thing. I'm like, when it first started happening, it was very sort of... It didn't start out immediately at that level. You know, it started out quietly, and I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And then it just kept building up. And I'm like, I was like, I got to do something to, like, wake him up or whatever. But I don't want to just, like, fucking go over there and shake him around. This is when I was trying to be nice when it first started.
Yep.
So I, like, slammed my hand on the bed as hard as I could. So I was like, doon! Across the room. Nothing.
Wow.
I did that a couple more times. Nothing. And I was like, fine. And I finally open my eyes and look over. And he is so sprawled out. His feet are on the floor.
Oh my God.
Halfway out of the bed. Spread-eagled backwards onto the bed. He'd had a couple of beers, I assume, at this point. So I reach out and I slap him on the leg. Nothing.
Wow. Was he dead?
Not making that noise.
Nah, fair enough.
And then I'm like, Rob! Nothing. Rob! Hit him and say Rob at the final time. And he's like, yo, so fast, whatever. He just starts speaking in Nepalese.
Oh my God.
So I have no idea what he's saying.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, this is a toilet. And he gets up and he starts walking away from the bed. And he's like, what's going on? Oh, hello. And that's when he finally wakes up.
Yeah.
And it was all fucking night.
Oh my God.
With this noise. I got like 3 hours of sleep. It was ridiculous. And that was the first night.
Oh. Of how many? 3?
Of 2 nights. 2 nights. The next day was the training, and we went to bed at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And training was at 9 o'clock.
Fucking
and I was exhausted.
Yeah. That's a mentally exhausting thing.
Mentally and physically exhausted because I got no fucking sleep.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so... And I was like, Rob, I can't deal with you snoring next night. So all day I'm like, if you keep snoring like that, I'm going to fucking smother you. And at one point I picked up a pillow while he was snoring to hit him with it to wake him up.
Yeah. And
then I just stood there and looked at... And this was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I was looking there at the pillow in my hand. I was like, nobody will know. Nobody would know.
No one would know. You could just leave him here and the cleaners would find him and they wouldn't have any idea.
Just like I was like fighting the urge to stand up and like stand over him with this pillow over his fucking snoring face. Anyway, I got through that.
Yep.
And I was like, if you snore again that bad tonight, because I recorded it and I showed it to him and I showed it to my boss, who thought it was fucking hilarious because he's in another room.
Yeah, exactly.
At one point, I considered going and sleeping in the bathtub.
Yeah. Yeah. That was going to be my next question, is like, where did you end up sleeping?
Well, I just nutted it out.
Yeah.
I had to wake him up like 5 times throughout the night because I just reached the breaking point. And so as the next night, I went and hung out with a friend of ours, Ran. Hello, Ran, who listens to the podcast. And
Shout out to Ran.
Shout out to Ran. She's in Melbourne. I went and spent the night with her. You know, went walking around, avoiding going back to the hotel, basically.
Yeah.
And I went back to the hotel at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And he wasn't there.
Huh.
And I was like, oh no, he's either out drinking again or something else is happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I was just dead to the world. I couldn't stay awake at that point. So I went to bed. And, well, actually, sorry, I told a lie. Before I went to bed, I turned the TV on and I was just flicking through the channels. It was crappy hotel TV.
Yeah.
And this was the previous night, actually. Flicking through the da-da-da. And I came across this program and I was like, oh, what's this about? And I started watching it. And it was about sexual education in Britain. And about how, like, girls have no idea how vaginas work when they're in high school and stuff like that.
All right.
And there was this sort of woman from Sweden or something.
Yeah.
Who was like over in Sweden apparently, like sexual education is just like, this is how to give blowjobs and stuff like that.
Huh. Well, damn.
It was
important information.
It was all about like her trying to get government support for like making sexual education compulsory and all this sort of stuff. So it was really interesting.
Yeah.
And as I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is quite interesting, you know, all the legislature behind, like, trying to push this stuff through, da-da-da.
Yeah.
And as we cut back to the woman holding a big stuffed plush vagina showing off the various components to these girls.
Oh, jeez.
These teenage girls. That is when, Rob walked in.
Of course.
The preview. This was the first night. I've never turned a TV on so fast in my life.
That would look really weird.
It looks super weird. Me sitting in a hotel room watching a sex education show.
For small girls.
For young women, yeah. Anyway, cut forward. Sorry for the sidetrack there. Cut back to the second night. I'm alone in the hotel room. I'm exhausted. I fall asleep.
Yeah.
I don't even hear him coming because I'm that dead.
You're unconscious.
I'm unconscious at this point.
In a coma.
And I don't really wake up when he goes to bed or anything like that. But what I do wake up is at 2 o'clock in the morning when I hear him get out of bed, start shouting at me in Nepalese, and standing next to my bed.
Huh.
And so I roll over and I look at him, I'm still half asleep.
Yeah.
To see him standing there next to my bed with a fist raised above his head.
Yeah.
Very threatening fashion, shouting at me in Nepalese.
Yeah.
I'm like, Rob, what? Jesus, fuck, what's going on? And he's like, oh, sorry, I thought it was in my house and you were an intruder. It's like...
What? Oh my god.
He was half asleep and thought that I was an intruder in his home because I was some strange person across the room from him. So he got up and started shouting at me in Nepalese to get out of his house and what am I doing here? And he was about to punch me in the face.
I would have just left. I wouldn't have made it through the first night. I would have just left and never come back.
He was very apologetic about that.
Yeah,
and I can understand, like, being half asleep, blah, blah, blah. It's like, how does his wife deal with him at this point? Because he's a middle-aged man.
And he's married. Someone's married him.
How do they deal with this nonsense?
She must take, like, Xanax or something and just get knocked out every night.
That's the last sort of dramatic thing that happened.
Oh my god!
In regards to the sleeping.
And then you get back here and you fall asleep on the couch.
I was so exhausted. I came back home yesterday afternoon is when the plane landed, and like lay down on the couch and started watching some TV, and then it was morning.
And you lost that whole gap of time.
Lost the whole gap of time. Yeah.
Wow, you poor thing. I feel
I
don't usually feel sorry for you a lot of the time because you're a pretty cool guy. And I'm just jealous of you all the time. I feel sorry for you today.
That was awful. It was god awful.
You poor thing.
Yeah. While I was killing time the second night, I did manage to go to the casino though.
Ah.
Yeah.
Did you win anything?
Here's what happened.
Oh, here we go.
So, I apologise for everybody listening that this isn't really pop culture heavy.
Not at all. I don't think this one's pop culture in the slightest. This episode. Really. We'll change the name for this week.
Anyway, so I went to the casino, Crown Casino in Melbourne.
Yep.
It was very famous. And so I went there by myself because I don't want to spend any more time with motherfucking people from work.
Yep.
And I got like $50 burning a hole in the pocket. And I'm not really a gambler. I've gambled a couple of times. You, to my knowledge, have never gambled at a casino
once,
in your life.
Because I would be on the street.
You've got a very addictive personality.
Sure do.
This is true. So I'm in the casino by myself, wandering around, and I go do my tradition, which is anytime I ever go to a casino, I have a shot called Squash Frog. You remember?
I do remember.
And so I have that. My tradition is over, and I'm just wandering up and down throughout all the casino. And we went and had breakfast there at the casino. And my boss, who was a huge fan of motorcycles, obsessed with motorcycles, saw that there were these couple of motorcycles on, like, on a bank of pokies. Oh, I was like, win this bike, blah, blah, blah. Da-da-da. Has to win between this amount, this standard, boring.
No chance in winning.
No chance of winning, blah, blah, blah. But I had like, it was like $1 to play or whatever. And I had like a $2 coin in my pocket. So I was like, sounds good. Put the $2 coin in. I don't know how to fucking use poker machines.
Yeah.
And $2 just falls straight through and lands out. Ding, ding, ding. And I was like, and I got so ridiculously embarrassed that I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I just took it and I went away.
Turns out you won the motorcycle.
So that was the end of my pokies adventure.
Yep.
And I know how to play blackjack.
Yep.
And I know like the mechanics of roulette.
Yeah.
So
well, that's not hard. You pick a number and
throws the all very simple. And so I was wandering up and down because there used to be like $5 blackjack tables.
Yeah.
Which is what I used to play because you can get a few hands with like a small amount of money.
Yeah.
But the lowest I could find was like a $10 blackjack table. And I'm always nervous sitting down at a table by myself because even if you know how to play, if you don't play like the mathematically correct way with other people who are like hardcore gamblers, they get upset because you screw up the card distribution and all the cycle and the counting of the cards and da-da-da. So I couldn't find a table just to play by myself.
Yeah.
And so I didn't play that. And so I went up to a $5 roulette table.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, while I was watching, I was like, da-da-da. And I Googled, like, how to play roulette on my phone. Because I didn't want to, like, make it jump out of myself.
Yeah.
And there was, like, one guy. Because if you get a number right, it's like, it can pay out, like, 31 to 1.
Wow.
It's a ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
But if you just, like, pick, oh, it's going to land on red, then it's a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
You know? And this guy just had like a stack of $1,000 sitting on a number, and he won it.
Holy
crap.
So
he got like 31 grand or something out of this table.
Holy shit.
And so like the next round, all he did was had money on every single number.
Those are good odds.
And I think he had like big thick stacks on some numbers, and other ones only had like 2 chips on them.
Yeah.
So it was like, and even the guy who was dealer, you know, the croupier, was like, oh, come on, mate, you got it on every number. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He was like, let's hope I get one of the big ones. And the guy spun the wheel, and it was one of the ones that had 2 stacks on them. So he just took all the rest of the money on the table and shoved it away. He's like, you have lost all of that money.
Jesus. What a waste.
But I didn't even go into that.
Like,
I finally found a roulette table that nobody was on.
Yeah.
So I couldn't embarrass myself by not knowing what to do. Because in the past, I've tried to get change for money, for chips, by trying to hand the note to the guy. Not allowed to do that.
Oh, you're not allowed to do that?
You can't do that.
Oh, you have to put it on the table?
You gotta put it on the table, they'll give you the chips.
Yeah.
In the past, I've like gone, here's the money. And he's like, I can't touch that. I'm like, well, I'm horribly embarrassed.
Oh, God.
So I knew that. I threw it on the table. I was like, thank you very much. It was a $5 roulette table.
Yeah.
So I was like, sweet, that'll 50. You'll give me like a bunch of runs, and I'll have some fun. And I was like, I'll bet it on. And in my head, I was like, I'll bet it on black. And then for some reason, I put on red.
That's your colour, though. Your favourite colour is red. I can't believe you went for black. You're thinking of me.
Well, you always bet on black, is the saying.
Oh, really?
It's the saying.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I'll bet it on black. And then I proceeded to put like $40 on red.
Oh, jeez.
And he was like, it was like $20 on red.
Yeah.
And he was like, you need to put 25 on. And I was like, internally, I'm like, why? It's a $5 table. Why do I have to put $25 on?
Yeah.
But externally, I was like, oh, of course, excuse me, I'm so sorry. So I put the $25 on red. The guy spins it black.
Wow.
So he's like, I'll have that. And I was like, well, I'll go back to my original plan. $25 on black. He spun it red. So I was like, thank you very much.
And that was your gambling
that was my
experience.
gambling experience.
Oh, Alan.
And so I just left.
Did you have any fun on this trip?
Well, spending time with
Ryan, yeah.
It was fun. But the rest of it was just fucking nonsense.
Wow.
And I'm like 6'4" for those who've not picked up on it, if I haven't mentioned that. So I'm very tall.
You're very tall.
Which means that I don't fit on planes very well. I've never been on a plane flight that my knee isn't smashing, cramming into the seat in front of me. So all the flight over, I had an empty seat next to me, which was fine, which was lovely. So that was just the worst because my knee is like constantly smashing into it.
Yeah.
And then on the flight back, I was sitting next to this bro. Would be the only way to explain it.
Yeah.
Tribal tats, like all the spirally tats all down one arm.
Yeah.
Tank top and shorts and thongs on the plane. All that sort of stuff.
Fucking hell.
Which it turned into bare feet on the plane.
Yep.
So, and he just kept bumping his feet against mine.
Oh, God.
And
my God.
I was wearing shoes at the time, so it's like... But there was like the center bar, which like runs down between the 2 seats in front of you onto the floor, is like, you just put your foot on it as a footrest.
Yeah.
So I put my foot on it, and then he'd like smash his foot into mine. And so I'd have to go like, oh, sorry. And he'd be like, oh, sorry.
Oh my God. And so how long was your flight, and how long did you do this for?
It's about 5 hours.
So you did that for the whole 5 hours?
It was just a real back and forth.
Oh my God. Fighting for that spot.
Yeah. So that was my trip to Melbourne. And then I landed back. We walked back to the... because my work is right next to the airport.
Oh, so, of course, yeah.
We walked to the airport, and then we walked back.
Yeah.
And I got off the plane, and I was like... I packed everything in my backpack, because we only carried backpacks, so we was there for 2 days. And I was like, where are my keys? I was like, fuck. I didn't remember taking my keys off the counter at the hotel and putting them in the backpack.
Oh my God.
So I was like, fuck, where are my keys? And I checked. Thank God I'd actually put them in there.
Oh, you actually have them.
I just didn't. I put them in there when I got there.
Yeah.
Not when I left, which is why I didn't remember packing them.
Yeah.
So I was like telling them, I was like, oh, I thought I left my keys, blah, blah, blah. And then Rob like had this deadpan look on his face. And he was like, wait a minute. And he pulls his wallet out and he's like, where's my driver's license? And I was like, how did you lose your driver's license? He's like, when we went to check in, you take your ID out to check in. And we checked in online, and for some reason we thought we had to still go to the counter. So he took his ID out, but they never took it. So he left it on the counter.
Oh my god.
And that was on the other side of the airport.
Yeah.
So I was like, sucks to be you, I'm going home.
Well,
good luck not being able to legally drive over there to check it out.
I'm glad that you got a little bit of revenge out of that. That's a nice ending.
That was my ending to the story. Yeah.
Well, damn.
Shit. Anyway. So, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm pretty good. I don't know the format of the show, even though I've been on it twice. I feel like there's some sort of book club that I'm not a part of because I don't know how to read.
We haven't started the book club back up yet because Russell's on holiday. But I have actually been giving some thought to that. And we reviewed The Martian in the book club, which is a book that got turned into a movie.
Yep.
So I'm thinking maybe we keep that streak going, and the book club can be about books that have been turned into movies.
Hey, we could do that.
So I think that'll be interesting.
Cool. Is that a next week thing?
Well, that'll be for when Russell gets back thing.
Oh, I'm not on that. How can you bring back what's dead?
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, he's a part of you, so he's here in spirit.
That's true. He's the book part of me.
He is the book part of you.
The part of me that can read.
Yes, you, who famously does not read books.
No. Or anything for that matter.
Which has really always confused me. Why is that? Are you just not a confident reader, or that just doesn't excite? Because
really
I know
reading.
you read manga.
Yes, I do, and I read like every day.
Everyday reading, yes.
Everyday living. But no, I don't have the concentration and patience to sit there for X amount of time and read a book. I get frustrated.
Yeah, because it was like, oh, if this was a movie, it'd be over already.
Yeah, and manga's great because it has pictures, and that engages me. But I can't engage with text.
Do you think you're a little ADD?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know me. You can make a better judgment than me.
You're very easily distracted.
You should mention how before every podcast you take everything off of me so I can't play with anything.
Tim is very, he's got a very hand fixation.
I have a hand fixation,
Yes, so he has to be fiddling with something.
So I basically get patted down and strip searched before every podcast.
There's a cavity search.
You took my keys.
I did take
You took everything within arm's reach of me except for the juggling balls that I just eyeballed off. And I get a cup of drink. That's the only thing I'm allowed to play with, and I have to be very careful when I touch it.
Yes, and you have your phone there just because you get angry when I try to take that off you.
Yes, I do. It's the one thing I don't like people touching.
Well, why don't we take a quick break?
Yep.
And then we can come back for the Forced review. Forced review. It's a bit different this week, seeing as how Russell is not here and Tim is the one doing the review.
Yep.
And he's not getting to give me one at the end because he's seen no movies. So at the end of this, I'm going to get him to review another one.
Oh, that's not fair, but okay. I can't complain. I'm a guest.
You can't well, you could complain as a guest.
I'll complain off camera.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Off mic would be the phrase.
Would be the correct thing, yes.
Anyway, so last week, Russell gave you the forced review of Terminator 2. With the addition of Terminator 1, if you could find the time.
And I found the time.
I don't think you found the time. I think your fiancée made you find the time.
Yeah.
Because Cara,
she did.
Lovely Cara, was very behind the scenes, forcing you to watch both of them.
Yeah, there was a lot of forced review this week.
Yes, because you hate doing new things.
I hate doing new things. I hate old movies. I hate sitting down for long periods of time and doing nothing. So this just ticked all the boxes of things that I don't like doing. But I like spending time with my girlfriend.
Did you know through various references and people talking about it and all that stuff, what did you know about the series of movies before you started watching?
There's a robot.
Yep.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it.
Yep.
He doesn't say much.
Okay.
There was lots of scenes from The Simpsons that I recognised.
Okay. Or scenes in The Simpsons that were from this.
Yeah. Well, not in my mind.
Not in your mind.
I was like, they took that from The Simpsons, and Cara just looked at me. And yeah.
Tim being a massive fan of The Simpsons.
Big fan of The Simpsons.
Do you still watch it?
I don't. I gave up on it.
I think it really is not good.
It's done.
It
was done 10 years ago.
It's a horse with 4 broken legs.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's just a stump, really. A horse stump.
A horse torso.
A horse torso, yeah.
A horso.
A torso. Yeah, okay. I couldn't do it.
You tried to up my horso with saying torso.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So I'm excited because if you went in knowing nothing, then let's start with Terminator 1 or just Terminator, as it's called.
As it's called, yeah. So I watched Terminator.
Well, this is going to be spoiler heavy.
Oh god, yeah.
I very much doubt
that for the 3 people that haven't seen Terminator. Now that I've seen it, the 2 people that haven't seen Terminator. Holy shit, what a terrible movie that was. My God,
you're not a fan?
Hated it. And the funny thing is, and I know I'll talk about Terminator 2 in a minute, is that it's really weird for me because I'm terrible for falling asleep in movies. I fell asleep
you're
watching...
well known for it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I fell asleep watching The Princess Bride with Cara because she tried to make me watch that 5 times. We didn't even finish it. She just gave up. On the Harry Potter 1 took me 4 sittings to sit through because I fell asleep 4 times.
Does it matter what time of day you watch this?
Nope. Doesn't matter what time. We can watch it 9 o'clock in the morning. I will fall asleep every single time. If I'm not engaged, out like a light.
Okay.
But anyway.
Did you muscle through Terminator?
That's the weird thing. I watched Terminator 1 without falling asleep once. Because I was so committed to the podcast. I was like, I have to watch this to review it. And I got to the end and I was just so angry and done because the whole she's going through the thing and she crushes him.
Okay, well, don't talk about the plot. You don't have to skip over stuff.
Okay, cool. So
tell me about what happens in the movie from your point of view.
Okay, so there's this chick with a fucking horrible haircut, Sarah Connor.
Keep in mind it was the 80s.
And that's really hard for me to keep in mind. and I can't say, the graphics were terrible because for the time they were incredible.
They were
what was I
balls
from what I was
deep
told.
Amazing at the time, yeah.
But they were just awful.
Now, this is the sort of stuff that I'm really curious about.
Yeah.
Because
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Because every now and then I will go back and try to watch a classic movie.
Yeah.
And one that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And it's just so hard.
Yeah.
Because you're just I get that this, at the time, was a cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah.
But I'm used to, fucking Pacific Rim sort of graphics.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I couldn't get over, because, once, and I'm going to skip ahead a bit in the plot, when obviously all of his, skin melts off or whatever in the fire, and he's walking, and I was like, oh, it's the Terminator thing, and then he's, fucking a puppet on a stick, and it was just...
It was all stop-motion animation.
You could tell, because they shot, 1 frame every 2 minutes, because it was just, it was
But what about the plot? What did you think about the plot?
Okay, so the plot was, the chick with the terrible haircut, Sarah Connor, and then this guy comes back from the future,
Back from the future
to protect her from Arnie, the Terminator, who says nothing and is just everybody says fuck off.
Well, he's a silent menace.
Yeah, he's very menacing, but the fact that he's Arnold Schwarzenegger ruins the fact that he's menacing for me, because I know him after Terminator.
Well, you know him
as
from,
the governor.
As the governor.
Yeah, the governor. And he's just he's got bad policies and no one really takes him seriously. That's what I know as Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right. So he came out, I was like, oh, look how young he is, and then I saw his fucking ass, and that was great. So a lot of
very,
ass.
very toned man.
He's very, very ripped. He's jacked. But anyway, so on his ass, he comes through, and Sarah Connor, he goes through and kills a bunch of other Sarah Connors, whatever, going through the phone book because
he doesn't know which one is the one.
And they don't have the technology to not have phone books at the time. So even though he's from the future, they're still using phone books in the future.
Well, it's a post-apocalyptic future, so any sort of surviving databases would have been destroyed.
I suppose. It's saving grace. So anyway, and this other guy comes back, and
he's the hero.
He's the hero, and he's like, "Come with me if you want to live," which I'm assuming is a famous quote because I've heard it. Yeah, because I've heard it before, and I've used it in regular reference, not knowing where it's from, and now I know where it's from, and I'll never use it again. So he comes back and he takes the girl, and she's like, and the cops just are so dismissive of the entire event because they're like, oh, he's not real, and then they just get killed.
They just get demolished.
They get absolutely annihilated.
They go along, for those who either haven't seen it or can't remember. Yeah. They're just like, oh, he's just on PCP or something. That's why he can just fuck shit up and doesn't look like he's getting hurt.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, he doesn't die when we shoot him. That must be PCP because in the 80s they had no concept of what drugs actually do to the human body. So
he's wearing body armor or something.
Yeah, we'll give him some electroshock therapy and that'll fix him right up. Because it was the 80s and that's what they did. So anyway, Arnie does the thing and he spends the whole movie walking slowly or riding his bike at a regular pace trying to find these people, which will lead into my problems with Terminator 2 very shortly. But anyway, I have the thing and they do the fight and he gets burnt and
his robot skeleton
comes out and the puppet walks along and it's just at that point I was just like, this is ridiculous. I can't.
You couldn't take it seriously?
I couldn't take it seriously. I kind of got the whole Arnie thing and him being big and scary and he fucking people up and that's cool and I get that, but then as soon as he became a bad puppet robot I was just like, this is ridiculous. I can't anymore. And it was cool, the close-ups of the face was really cool because obviously the work that went into those models was exceptional. But he's chasing her at a slow pace through the factory, and then the guy dies, and as soon as he was like, oh, your father and John Connor and he's a great leader and stuff like that, I bet you he's the dad. As soon as he mentioned her son that hasn't been born yet, I was like, There you go.
They're gonna fuck.
They're gonna fuck. And then they fucked, and she got pregnant. So, like...
The future boy.
Future boy. So, Terminator 1, didn't enjoy.
Could you appreciate it from, like, a historical standpoint?
Yes, I can. That's me being a nice person, is that I can understand if I was in 1984 when it came out, and I did my research, 1984 when it came out, that movie would scare the shit out of me. Because there was nothing like it at
That'd
the time.
That'd be the Hostel of the...
Oh, yeah, my God. But yeah, I have an appreciation for it, but now that it's 2016, which is what?
Oh, God.
X number of years?
20 years later.
Almost,
30 years later.
Almost 30 years later.
30 plus, actually, yeah.
30 plus? Yeah, 32 years. Holy shit. So yeah, 32 years later.
I don't know why I had trouble doing the math on that.
Yeah, neither did I.
I'm born in 1984.
Well, there you go.
So
really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh, God, it's like 20... it's my age. It's my age old.
Well, that's really interesting because it came out in 1984, which is your birth year, and Terminator 2 came in 1991, which was my birth year.
Oh, there you go.
Well, there you go. So, do I review Terminator 1 first?
Why don't you just give us how many poorly animated skeletons out of 10?
Let's do 2 ratings for this. Okay. Because I'm going to do a time-sensitive rating. So... in 1984, Tim reference, so like pre-fetus when I wasn't alive or around or existing, yeah. The cells weren't together. 1994 rating of, I'm going to say 8 Arnold Schwarzenegger, not out of an exoskeleton puppet, out of 10. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 marvelously sculpted Arnold Schwarzenegger asses out of 10.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So 16 asses. 16 cheeks.
16 cheeks.
16 cheeks out of 10.
Which is like the different, very R-rated. That was the porn version of 16 Candles. Was 16 ass cheeks.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on. Oh wait, so 2016.
Oh yeah, what's your
2016?
Just saw it in reference to like the
graphics and my patience of real world Tim, not pre-fetus Tim. Is 2016 rating of 3 exoskeletons, badly puppeted exoskeletons out of 10 is my rating.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
But I gave it a really good whack.
Okay. And now, I think last night, your fiancé forced you to watch Terminator 2.
Yes. Which I fell asleep in.
Did you seriously?
Yeah, right at the end. It's such a long movie.
It's a bit...
I was not expecting it to be that long. Like, and I'll jump into the plot again. They're like... Oh, where did they get up to? It was like just before they like... It was when they were shooting the guy that was in charge of making the creation, Skynet or whatever.
Okay, the black guy.
The black guy, yeah. When I fell asleep at that point, Kara like was hitting me. She's like, "You're not paying attention," and I was like, "Oh, I'm trying not to fall asleep." And she's like, "You missed the most important part. The guy that's doing it is black." And I was like, "What has that got to do with anything?" And that angered me enough to wake up for a little bit. But I fell asleep multiple times towards the end. I kept dozing off.
Okay.
But it's one of those rare occurrences, and I know that you'll back me up on this, but the sequel, I have to admit, was 150 times better.
Oh no, Terminator 2 is held as far and above the better movie.
It was phenomenally better than Terminator 1. I'm going to say that I actually enjoyed it. I found a lot of issues with it, but I did enjoy it.
Was one of your issues John Connor's high-pitched squeaky voice?
He actually grew on me, and Sarah Connor didn't. Like,
really? Buff Sarah Connor?
She, like,
kicking
initially...
ass, taking names?
Yeah, initially I was like, wow, she's in the hospital, she's doing chin-ups and shit, she's really ripped. And
like the needle in the neck full of bleach?
Yeah, and she's fucking awesome. And then, like, as it progressed, she just became, like, more and more psychotic. And I was like, I'm fucking done with you. And the kid got more and more, like, together with his, like... Because at the beginning I was like, this fucking kid's a piece of shit. He's going around just being a dickhead.
Hacking ATM machines.
Yeah, with his information doesn't work, because I don't think that's how ATMs work at all. Because I don't think they store the PIN numbers in the ATMs.
I'm not sure.
I don't think that's how it works.
Maybe they did in 1991.
Maybe. But yeah, he really pissed me off. And then as he grew with Arnie, and then the whole dad, father, son relationship. If I can go like English year 12 on this, and looking at the relationship. So yeah, obviously he's looking for a replacement father because dad died or whatever.
He never existed.
Basically. So yeah, that happened. Whatever. But yeah, he forms this relationship with Arnie, which is really actually quite nice to see, and he becomes a better person because of it. And I really appreciate that because I don't even know why. I just enjoyed watching his character development, where versing Sarah, where it just declined, and I was just like, can someone kill her?
She starts falling apart.
She just absolutely starts falling apart, and she's supposed to be like the mother of this great leader, and she's just a fucking nutcase. Like,
now, did you pick that Arnie was the good guy in the second movie, or did you know that going in?
I knew that going in.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, and I was thinking about, like, oh, yeah, people don't know who's what because, obviously, fucking other Cyborg...
If you take it from objective standpoint, Liquid Man...
Metal Cooler, that's what I call it. Metal Cooler.
Metal Cooler, yeah. Looks like the good guy.
Yeah, he's got that stereotypical good guy look.
Because he's, like, a cop. He takes over as... He's, like, dresses up as a cop.
He's got all those good guy connotations.
Yeah, whereas Terminator 2 basically follows the same thread as the first one, where he goes, like, I need your car, your bike, and your clothes, and all that sort of nonsense. And your gun, whatever. Yeah. And, you know, he's, like, going around breaking people's legs and killing people and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Being a Terminator.
Yeah. But then there's the great switch around, which everybody has had it spoiled for them, which annoys me terribly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I knew that coming in, because when I went to the first movie, I was like, isn't Arnie good? And then the whole movie, he was just bad the whole time. Person, and then when I got the second, I was like, oh, this is the one where he does it. But that's the thing. The guy in the cop outfit, Metacooler, he scared the shit out of me. Like, from the very beginning, like, his whole face and his demeanor was, perfect.
He's got a very
menacing alien. Yeah, exactly. And it was terrifying to watch. And Kara said the exact same thing she said when she was a kid, because she watched that movie a million times growing up. So when she was a kid, he scared her more than Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I thought that was quite interesting. But the movie was just infinitely better. It just went on for so long.
It is a long movie.
So long. And, like, it got to that point where they were shooting up the black guy in his house, and I went to go check how long was left on thing because I was falling asleep. And it was like 47 minutes left, and I was so angry. I was like, are you fucking serious? And she's like, oh, the action's about to come. I was like, how long's the action for?
It really does ramp up at that point.
Yeah, it does. It does, yeah, it does. And they've got that big, like, shootout scene, and it's an enjoyable movie.
Did you see them in the Skynet Tower? Where they're trying to blow the place up?
Yeah.
And you saw Arnie with the minigun?
Yeah.
Taking out all the cops? Yeah. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good, yeah. That was probably one of the highlights, and then obviously getting all the references, like where the Metacooler's like got the fucking golf clubs for his hand in Homer, and he's like jumping onto Ned's car.
There's a lot of Simpsons references.
Yeah. And I appreciated pointing all those out to Kara. So that was really good. And just seeing where they come from, I think, was really nice.
Did you see the ending? Did you make it through to the end?
Yeah, I watched all the way through the end. I couldn't tell you what happened. But, oh my god, what happened?
Right at the very end, like, Arnie gets the big spear through him.
Yeah, and he drops into the lava.
Well, he gets the spear through him, which kills him, quotation marks, but then he reboots, pulls it out, and he fucks him up and throws him in the...
Yeah, and then he kills himself.
So there's no tech left over.
Yeah, which is wonderful and noble. Which leads me to my problem with this movie, and maybe it's me not understanding time travel, but how the fuck did he die in the first movie and then come back in the second?
Are you serious? Arnie?
Yeah.
He's a robot. He's mass-produced. It's not the same robot.
Oh, see, they didn't explain that in the movie. Or did they?
Yes, they did.
When? Because Kara wouldn't explain to me. She was like, he never died because it's a different time stream. I was like, I don't think it's a different time stream because he changed history or something.
Yeah, no, basically, in the first one, he gets destroyed.
Yeah.
But he's like a mass-produced model.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they just send a different one back that they've hacked.
Yeah. I feel like this might come into play in the third and fourth movies. Because there might be like a massive...
Because then there's like, oh, he's here, but he looks older. Oh, it's because I've been around a while.
Well,
let's leave the third and fourth one out of this because they're not part
good?
of this.
Oh, okay, good. But okay, so I'll give it a rating because I've basically said all I need to say about it, unless you have any more questions.
No, I can't really think of anything I'd like to ask you about it.
I'm actually really happy you made me watch them because I feel like I got an appreciation for when people are like, oh, why haven't you seen this movie? And I've seen Terminator.
Like everybody's like, anytime anybody's like, haha, I'll be back. And you're like, oh, no, I get it.
I get it, yeah, I get it. And that came up and I was so disappointed when it happened. I was like, that's it.
But he drove a car through the building.
Yeah, I guess. Well, that psychologist is just...
Did you enjoy the parts where John Connor is like figuring out that he can tell Arnie to do whatever he wants?
Yeah, that was pretty good. With the one foot.
Hop on one foot.
Yeah, and put the foot down.
You can put the foot down.
Yeah, that was good. That was probably my favorite scene
in
the
movie, kick these guys' asses, and then he just like...
Pulls out a gun.
And then he tells him not to kill anybody,
and then he's like,
he busts the guy in the kneecap.
He's like, he'll live. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I appreciate the humor that they put into Arnie's character because it made him more interesting. Where in the first movie, he was just a killing machine,
it was inhuman.
Yeah, which makes me feel like with the first movie, it did exactly what it said on the box. Like, it was a movie about a guy trying to terminate people, and that's what he spent the entire movie doing. But then the second movie, he actually grew as a character, so I like that.
Yeah. He's a robot becoming a human.
Yeah, it was good character development, and I appreciate that because it's more plot than I was anticipating. Anyway, I give it a rating.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so 1991, Tim. Mm-hmm. This is Birth Tim. OG, like fresh out of the womb, Tim.
Would be horrified by all these colours and sounds, but yes.
Yeah, I would give it 8 Metacoolers out of 10.
Right.
Because it's better than the first one, and I feel like it would.
No, you're not going to piss anybody off by saying that the second one's
wonderful.
better.
And the graphics improved dramatically.
Oh yeah, it's like 1,000%.
Like where he melts through the barbed wire, the bars, yeah.
And then he gets like the gun caught, and he's like, "Wow, what the fuck is that?" And he it's amazing.
And where he's on the floor and he scoops up and stuff, like that's really cool. I appreciate that. It's still bad, but like for its time, it's like even now I'm still pretty impressed.
I have no idea how they did that, by the way. It would have cost them a lot of cash back in the day.
Oh, yeah, God, yeah. Anyway, so 2016 rating. I'm going to give it a solid 7 Metacoolers out of 10.
Fair enough.
Yeah, HD Metacoolers out of 10.
Because now it's in HD.
Because it's now in HD. Because even though I fell asleep multiple times, I actually found the plot quite interesting. And had it been at a different point of the day and I had been more awake, I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Do you feel that... It was very late, I believe, when you watched it.
Yeah, I went to bed at almost midnight.
As an old man that you are.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I got stuff to do in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you find it easier to stay awake during, like, action movies? Or is it just any movie?
No, action movies I'm a lot better with. Why? Okay. Is this going to lead to the next
one? Well, it's just trying to decide what I'm going to give you next review.
Okay.
Because I was going to give you The Shawshank Redemption, which I haven't seen. But that's not an action movie. No. It's it's like the highest rated movie.
I own it on DVD.
You own you own it and have never seen it.
I've never seen it.
It's the highest rated movie on IMDb.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Does that have Morgan Freeman in it?
It does have Morgan Freeman.
Not to be confused with Nelson Mandela, though.
No.
No, okay.
Who's a real person.
He's a real person.
Not an actor.
And the person
well, I'm sure Morgan Freeman's a real person as well.
Probably. Some say he's not.
Some say he's an angel sent from heaven.
Some people just say he's just a voice.
Yes.
And they just forms
his voice is so powerful it turned into a charming black man.
He's basically like Terminator with his voice.
It's pretty much, yes. You could draw that connotation if you wish. Now, I'm tempted for Russell to make you watch Die Hard.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You have not seen Pulp Fiction, have you?
No.
I think I'm going to give you Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction?
It's a great movie, and it's got lots of action scenes, and it's got people's heads getting blown up.
Yeah, okay.
Well shot.
Does it have Samuel
It does have Samuel L. Jackson in it.
Alright, well, I'll allow that.
It also has Bruce Willis.
John Travolta's in it?
John Travolta as well.
Yeah, okay. I feel like I'll understand a lot more memes after this as well.
Oh, yeah, it's referenced in fucking everything.
Alright, well...
It's referenced in The Simpsons, like
I was going to say, I'll watch it for The Simpsons reference.
It's referenced in The Simpsons a lot. Alright, so you're going to watch Pulp Fiction.
Alright, unhappily, I will watch Pulp Fiction.
Now, I don't know if you're going to come back on next week.
Yep.
But we'll see.
That gives me heaps of time to try.
So you might have plenty of time to watch it.
Thank God. Because I need that.
Or you'll have a week.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so if you've enjoyed this, you can go to our website at popculturepon.weebly.com, in which I will be putting up the blog posts, seeing as how Russell is away. I'm not gonna make Tim do it.
No, please don't.
And you can find us on social media on facebook.com/popculturepon and on Twitter at popculturepon. Alternatively, you can email us at popculturepon@gmail.com for any particular reason. Nobody has ever done it.
I'll do it.
You can if you want.
Yep, I'll send you an email.
I've always contemplated going like, the first person who makes a comment gets a prize, like of something. But then I was just like, no, my friends will just do it, and then I'll just have to give my friends stuff.
Yeah, I would do that.
You would absolutely.
I would comment for
if I was like, first commenter gets a DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
You'd be like, comment, give me the thing.
Yeah. It'd just be a DVD of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, it'd be Pulp Fiction DVD. Yeah. What else is there? And if you have enjoyed this, feel free to come on back next week for another episode of Popculture Pontification. Hopefully with actual pop culture references and stuff to talk about that in relation to pop culture.
This week was work culture.
This day was work culture.
Breaking it down.